The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. Bet $100 at WynnBET and get a $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. The NFL kicks off this week, and get ready for the season with 32 NFL team previews from the Sports Gambling Podcast. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NFL previews today. And the free roll football contest is back and better than ever. $5,000 up for grabs in the NFL contest and $1,500 in our brand new college football contest. Sign up exclusively in our Discord. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Welcome, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Thursday, September 8th, currently 5:10 on the East Coast, here to break down the Friday games in MLB. And helping me to break those games down is my main man in the Great Lakes area. You know him better as Noah Beanick. Noah, what's going on, my man? Are you still sweating over there?
Not anymore. Literally, as we go live, Corey Dickerson knocks in Tommy Edman, and one other runner. I couldn't get my eye on who scored it, but the Cardinals just cashed the team total lock that I was sweating in the ninth inning, and now we have not you, but the other machine in the MLB, Albert Pujols, stepping up. He's 0 for 4 today. He's due. The Cardinals are down by 5 to the Nationals. Dude, what is going on with this Nationals team? I back them in the pod as a dog on Wednesday's slate. They blow it. They give up 4 in the bottom of the ninth to get walked off by the Cardinals. And then me and Dylan are locking up the Cardinals on Thursday's slate, and they come out and blitz the Cardinals after the Cardinals took an early lead. So just crazy stuff. And I mean, we were saying that this Nationals team is playing well. Like, the offense is hitting right now. So, but yeah, Munaf, how's it been going for you on the other side?
It's been pretty good. I followed both yours picks and Dylan's picks on the picks today, and obviously both have cashed. Yours was a little more sweaty, but hey, at the end of the day, it got there. So pretty good start. I was watching the game earlier, and I saw Yachty hit two bombs in the game early. I think they over cashed by like the fourth inning. It was like 4 apiece. So easy win for Dylan's lock of the day. So hopefully we can continue that into the night games. I know my lock is going to fall short. I took the over 8 in the Reds and Cubs game. Right now, 3-2 lead for the Cubs in the top of the ninth. But 7 games yesterday. We kind of went through it quickly. But we have a full game schedule on Friday that we're going to go through here, Noah. But what do you say? We're going to get right into it?
I do. I will say one thing here is like,
sure.
What is going on with the Twins? Why do they keep pitching the Judge? Come on now.
That's great for our Chicago White Sox bets. Just let them keep doing it.
Yeah, I know. It is. But, I mean, Judge is single-handedly beating them. Like, this Yankees team's not going to beat you unless Judge hits a tank. So, I guess that was my only real talking topic before we got into today's games. But, yeah, like you mentioned, full slate. So let's get into this.
Yeah, let's do it. We do have an not early afternoon, but it's an afternoon game. It's going to be between the San Francisco Giants and the Chicago Cubs to kick off the Friday schedule. 4:05 Eastern start. Carlos Rodon on the mound for the San Francisco Giants, and Drew Smyly on the mound for the Chicago Cubs. Battle of the lefties here. In this matchup, we do have lines for this game. Currently seeing the Giants are a -165 favorite, and the Cubs are a home puppy of +140. Over under set at 8.5, with Vig towards the under here. Noah, why don't you lead us off with this game between the or I'll lead us off here. 12-7 for Carlos Rodon. 2.92 ERA. He has eclipsed the 200 strikeout mark. For the season, he's at 201. He has 47 walks on the season as well. Last 5 games, he's been pretty solid for the Giants. 2-1 with a 2.79 ERA. Only allowed 9 earned runs in 29 innings pitched. And coincidentally, 5 of those came against the Padres. But outside of that, Noah, he's been pretty solid for the San Francisco Giants here. Drew Smyly on the mound as well For the Chicago Cubs, he's 5-8 on the season with a 3.84 ERA. Last 5 games, 1-2 with a 3.51 ERA. At home this season, he has struggled to get victories at Wrigley Field, where he is 1-4 with a 2.86 ERA. So pitching well, just the run support really hasn't been there for Drew Smiley and the Cubbies. He has lost 3 straight starts for the Cubs where he hasn't gotten much run support. 2 games, he pitched real well. The bullpen came in and pretty much gave it up, except for his last start, which was against the Cardinals. He gave up 7 earned runs to the Cardinals in just 2 1/3 innings pitched. They lost that game 8-4. They lost to the Brewers 7-0, and then they also lost to the Cardinals previously 1-0. So not much run support coming in for Drew Smiley in this game, or at least over his last 5 starts. I quickly want to take a look at the WRC plus numbers for both of these teams, since we do have both left-handed pitchers on
Yeah.
the mound here.
I got OPS numbers right in front of me. Giants 751 against the lefties, and the Cubs 698. Cubs do hit better against lefties than righties, but still 60 points lower than the Giants.
Yeah, WRC plus, they're both right below each other. 15th are the Giants, and 16th are the Chicago Cubbies. I want to see how Carlos Rodon has done against the Cubs, if he has faced them this season. I don't believe he has, but let me just double check. Actually, he did. Back on July 31st, he went 7 shutout innings, only allowed 2 hits to the Chicago Cubs in that game. And Drew Smiley against the Giants this season, let's see here. Yeah, also on July 30th, he gave up 5 earned runs to the Giants team, 4 innings, 7 hits allowed, 5 strikeouts in that game. Yeah, this was already the way that I was feeling about this game. Giants money line here. I know it's at -165. If you want some plus money, I would maybe take a look at the run line in this game. And possibly, if your book does offer maybe a -1 line as well, if you want to pay a little less vig. But I'm with the Giants here, Noah. What about you?
So my only worry about it is it's a little bit of a weird game time, because San Francisco, they're playing earlier today as well against Milwaukee, and then they travel to Chicago, and it's the first game of this slate. But I mean, I think it's still pretty simple handicap. You got the better pitcher in Carlos Rodon, one of the best in the league. And he pitched well against the Cubs in his first game here. Smiley didn't really pitch that well against the Giants in his first game. And then Lewis Brinson, he was an interesting prospect for the Marlins, comes over to the Giants, and he's been hitting very well. He's got a 357 average against left-handed pitching. Keep an eye on him, because he's been playing pretty well for the Giants as of late.
All right. Let's get over to the next game of the night. We have the St. Louis Cardinals, like we were just talking about. They head to Pittsburgh to take on the Pirates, a 6:35 Eastern start. Miles Mikolas on the mound for the St. Louis Cardinals, and Contreras on the mound for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Looking at the lines for this game, the Cardinals are a $2 favorite on the road here, -205. Pirates +175 on the money line as a home dog. Over under set at 8 with a little bit of vig towards the over. Run line -1.5, -115 for the Cardinals, and +1.5, -105 for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Miles Mikolas, 11-10 on the season with a 3.32 ERA. Over his last 5 games, he's been really solid. 3-1 with a 2.57 ERA, and against the Pirates this season, he's 1-0 with a 1.46 ERA. That's been 2 starts where he's gone 12 1/3 innings pitched, allowed 2 earned runs to the Pittsburgh Pirates. On the road is where he's really gotten into trouble for the Cardinals, where he is 5-8 with a 4.41 ERA. We compare that to his home ERA, which is at 2.23 and a record of 6-2. Like I mentioned, on the mound for the Pittsburgh Pirates is I don't even know how to say his first name.
Ronzi.
Okay, Ronzi Contreras. 4-4 on the season with a 3.41 ERA. Last 5 games, pretty solid. 2-2 with a 2.40 ERA. At home, 2-3 with a 3.43 ERA. Did get into trouble against the Cardinals this season in 2 appearances. In 6 innings pitched, he's allowed 5 earned runs off of 8 hits. He's also walked 5 batters against the St. Louis Cardinals, and he's only struck out 2 batters when he's faced the St. Louis Cardinals. Last 5 games, they've lost 3 out of his last 4 starts. 2 of 3 have been on the run line that they have lost, and they've been against the Red Sox, the Braves, and the Toronto Blue Jays. Man, it's tricky here because I feel like both the Nationals and the Pirates are they're sneaky dogs, especially over the past couple of weeks here. And they're not really laying down. And again, we saw it with this Nationals team. I feel like the Pirates are kind of in that same boat here. Do I really trust Miles Mikolas on the road? I don't. Which kind of leaves me just taking the over 8 in this game. I think the Cardinals offense can get to Contreras like they have been during the regular season. I think the Pirates, they can put up a couple of runs as well to push this over the total here. And like I mentioned, Contreras has struggled against the Cardinals, and the worry that you have with Mikolas on the road, I just can't back the Cardinals at a $2 favorite here, or even on the run line. So I think for me, the best bet for this game was probably the over 8 in this game. Noah, what do you think?
So I like your over 8, but I'll raise you with that Pirates money line.
Okay.
I believe in Contreras. Early in the season, I was very high on him. I think he's got a lot of talent in his arm, but the two games against the Cardinals, they caught him early in his career. He's since got plenty of MLB innings under his belt, and in his last 7 starts, he's done pretty well, minus one bad one against the Brewers, where he gave up 7 and two thirds. Like you mentioned, his last 3, he's been pretty much lights out against Atlanta, the Phillies, and Blue Jays. All 3 teams are in playoff stretches here. And the Pirates, I don't know what it is, but they beat good teams. The only thing that nerves me about it is Michaelis. He pitched against the Pirates in June this year. He went 8.2 innings pitched, only gave up 1 hit, 1 run. But I am going to back the Pirates, and sure, I'll lean towards your overplay as well.
Yeah, I think that they are live dogs. I kind of want to see the head-to-head matchups first before we get over to the next game. I did have that MLB grid up every time we're recording, and I didn't get it up this time, but here we go.
While you're looking, shout out to Dryden. He says he's in Las Vegas. I'm wearing the SGP hat. Go check out their store. Use code football for 20% off. Tim, he's also been on this Nats little money train here. He said he had them on the run line today.
There you go.
Money line too. So he's pumped up and says he can't type.
Cardinals are actually 8-2 head-to-head this season against the Pirates. And it may be something to consider. But again, it is the month of September where the dogs are definitely always barking, and we've already seen that over the past week here, Noah. All right. Before we get over to the next game of the night, let me tell you guys about our presenting sponsor, WinBet. Well, if you're thinking of joining WinBet, can't tell you a better time to do it. Football season is here. MLB is winding down, but again, we're going to be here for the playoffs, like I mentioned, and you need to get over to WinBet. And it's a perfect time for new customers, and whoever bets $100 as a new customer, you'll get a $100 free bet. Perfect for kicking off the NFL season. Plus, the WinBet Casino is always open 24 hours a day, where you can get a 100% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. Win also has their first quarterback to throw 5 touchdown prop bets. There's so much to choose from, and all you have to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet so they know that we sent you. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WINNBET to claim your free bet today. Offers subject to change. Terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 years or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. We're also brought to you by the Free Roll Football Contest. The Free Roll Football Contests are here. College football contest has $1,500 up for grabs, and the NFL contest has $5,000 and a 2-night stay at Wynn Las Vegas up for grabs. Sign up exclusively on our Discord. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. We're also brought to you by the Live Sports Bureau. Football fans, the NFL regular season is finally here, and as week 1 kicks off tonight, actually, you get ready to place your bets and lock in your fantasy teams, you need to check out Eli's Game Plan app. It's the ultimate sports betting and fantasy companion for NFL, NBA, MLB that has everything you need to get a competitive advantage. Eli's Game Plan is the only sports app from the most trusted name in sports stats. The Live Sports Bureau is the official statisticians of the U.S. sports leagues, including the NFL. Their app lets you access team and player stats, head-to-head team comparisons, and Eli's key insights from their renowned research team. The app really is your one-stop source for player news and league-validated player stats and team records, expert game analysis for betting, fantasy lineups each week, and showing off your superior sports knowledge to your friends and coworkers. And new features are available all the time, like player injury analysis and player impact reports, which can be huge when it comes to betting and fantasy tournaments. NFL season is here, so don't wait. Download the Live Game Plan app today. And right now, we have a special offer when you subscribe. Get a 14-day free trial off a monthly subscription plan, but only if you use promo code SGPN. Find Elias Game Plan Sports Betting in the App Store and Google Play Store today and use promo code SGPN. All right, Noah, let's get over to the next game of the night. It's going to be a 7:05 Eastern start it's going to be a 6:40 Eastern start between the New York Mets, the reeling New York Mets. They head down south to Miami to take on the Marlins. Currently, let me see the pitcher for the Mets because I did not see one when I was Actually, I do see David Peterson. Is that what you see, Noah?
I don't have either pitcher, so Peterson, I'll go with him.
Okay, and then I see Edward Cabrera for the Miami Marlins.
Okay. He's coming off the IL, isn't he?
Yeah, no lines for this game. So, I mean, I don't have much to contribute here, Noah, unless you do without confirmed starting pitchers. I don't want to waste people's time here, but anything else you want to add?
Okay, so if these guys are going, Cabrera's nasty, but again,
Yeah.
it's that first game off IL kind of fade. Peterson, left-hander, Miami is terrible against left-handed pitching. And the Mets, they are reeling, but they have some role players that are hitting very well right now. Eduardo Escobar in his last 7 games, 455, 10 for 22. James McCann as well, a catcher that everybody wanted to chase out of town early on in the year. He's batting 400 in their last 7 games here. He's 4 for 10. And Tyler Naquin, 5 for 13. They acquired him in the trade with Cincinnati, 385. So 3 batters that, I mean, this is just a nice little get-right series against Miami, who just is struggling right now. They're on the struggle bus. So,
yeah, Edward Cabrera, he was nasty before he went to the IL. You mentioned it, but I did see that he pitched last Saturday. So I guess he's scheduled.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's been doing pretty well. He just had one bad start against the Dodgers, but who's not having a bad start against the Dodgers? And especially the way that the Mets bats are really struggling and not winning games, I could see where this game does end up going under. And if it is David Peterson, who is a left-handed pitcher, we know that the Marlins struggle against left-handed pitching. So we kind of went from not having much information to at least giving out one play that I do like is the under in this game because WRC plus Miami Marlins are number 29 out of 30 teams.
Yeah, they have a 574 OPS too, which is the worst in the league, and it is like 60 points worse than the 29th best team. So
yeah, I'm gonna be on the under in this game. If it is David Peterson, again, this Marlins team, if they win games, it's 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, something like that. But
that went from a no handicap, we don't know the pitchers, to actually pretty good handicap mode. I want to say,
yeah, 100%. All right, let's get over to the next game of the night. It's going to be the Boston Red Sox heading to Baltimore to take on the Orioles. 7:05 Eastern start. Malcolm's boy, Bello, is on the mound for the Boston Red Sox, and Austin Voth is on the mound for the Baltimore Orioles. Looking at the lines for this game, the Baltimore Orioles are home favorite at -135. Red Sox road underdogs at +115. Over-under set at 8.5. Run line -1.5, +150 for the Baltimore Orioles, and Boston Red Sox +1.5, -175 on the run line here. Noah, why don't you lead us off for this game between the Red Sox and the Orioles?
My pleasure. Boston, they're 1-6 in their last 7 road games. In Baltimore, they've been the most profitable home team in the MLB. So 2 very strong trends there. Brian Bayo, 1-4 in his last 5 decisions, 5.91 ERA, 29 strikeouts, 16 walks in 32 innings pitched in 2022 so far. He has a 2.59 ERA in his last 4 appearances. Austin Voth for Baltimore makes a start here against Boston. 4-2, 4.41 ERA, 73 strikeouts, 23 walks, and 81.2 innings pitched. He has a 2.15 ERA in his last 5 starts. Bayo seems to be improving with every appearance he makes in the MLB, and Voth has been great since becoming a starter for the Orioles. Both these teams are under teams. The Red Sox, they've hit their unders in 4 of the last 5 games. And the Orioles, 11 of their last 15. Both these offenses don't really scare me too much. I'll take a chance on 2 unproven names here in Bayo and Voth that have had good success as of late. I'll go with the under here.
Yeah, I mean, ever since Bale came back from the IL, or when he was, I think he went back down, and they brought him back up to kind of figure out mechanics.
Yeah.
One of the two. He's looked pretty good. I mean, I know he got off to a rough start early in the season, but over his last 5 games, 1-2 with a 3.15 ERA, he has struggled on the road. But if you take, sorry, against, so you look at Austin Voth, 3-0 at home so far this year, Noah. 4.70 ERA. It's a little inflated, but I think that he probably faced a really good offense, and
He
that's
was
Fan.
he was a reliever early on the season too
Yeah.
that kind of wrecked his ERA. Ever since he's become a starter, he's been great actually. So
He hasn't given up more than 2 earned runs in his last 5 appearances or starts, whatever, however we want to discuss it. Actually, has been starts.
Yeah.
Not a huge strikeout guy, but he gets the job done. Last 2 games, he's only allowed 1 earned run each, and he's been on fire. So I think the play that I really do like in this game here, Noah, give me the first 5 inning money line for the Baltimore Orioles. I'm going to take the bullpens out of it, even though the Orioles have a great bullpen. I just think that Bale will struggle like he has on the road so far this season. And I'm going to go with the first 5 innings money line for the Baltimore Orioles. And I don't hate, I mean, that's a great price on that run line
yeah.
for the Orioles at plus 150. I think that's juicy, especially the way that the Red Sox have struggled against AL East opponents for whatever it's been this season for the Red Sox. Noah, they've done great outside the division, but in division it's been terrible.
You're right. 1-6 in the last 7 on the road. I mean, that's a juicy little dog price. Might be a lock dog decision at the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
By the way, I captain in the chat Bayo 2 earned runs in his last 5 starts. Moonoff covered that one, but appreciate the nuggets as always.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, Bayo he gave up 3 to the Minnesota Twins. And that was his second to last start. So 4 of his last 5, at least, he's given up 2 earned runs or less. All right, let's keep it moving here, Noah. We got the next game on the board. It's going to be the Tampa Bay Rays headed to New York. This is going to be a big series here, Noah.
Yeah, we had one on the weekend with these 2 teams. I'm ready for it again. There was some fireworks.
Yeah, Rays and Yankees, 7:05 Eastern start. I'm seeing Drew Rasmussen is going to be on the mound for the Rays. Frankie Montas takes the mound for the New York Yankees. Let me go back to my page here with the odds. I'm currently seeing the I don't see lines for this game right now posted. Do you see anything on your end?
No, I did not.
Okay.
What's his name? Montas is not confirmed.
He's not confirmed. Okay.
No.
Do you have anything you want to give out for this game, or at least discuss this series for this weekend?
I have a full handicap because actually looking at MLB.com, Montas' picture, I just refreshed it. It is up. I looked at a few of our sites and it had Montas there. It just wasn't confirmed. So I imagine that maybe by the end of the podcast, these odds will come out. But this is one of the few games that we just don't have. I think it was like 2 or 3 games that were off the board today. But Tampa Bay, they're 11-5 against New York Yankees this in the season series this year. They've won 7 of those 11 games by 2 or more runs here. Tampa Bay, they are starting Drew Rasmussen, who's 9-4 with a 2.70 ERA, 103 strikeouts, 27 walks, and 116.2 innings pitched. He has a 1.83 ERA combined in his last 8 starts. For the Yankees, like I said, Frankie Montas is going to be on the mound here. He's 5-11 on the year. 3.72 ERA, 136 strikeouts, 35 walks, and 135.1 innings pitched. His last start was actually his best start as a Yankee. He went 5 innings, 7 punchies, 0 runs against this Rays team. For me, I just haven't seen the consistency from Montas to back him here in the spot, because that's exactly what I've seen from Rasmussen as he's given the Rays everything they've asked for since becoming a full-time starter. This is another big series for Tampa Bay. Again, like we mentioned earlier, the last time they saw this Yankees team, Yandy Diaz got K'd up on a ball that was below the strike zone. Yeah. It would have been a walk. It would have loaded the bases in the bottom of the 9th. Since then, Tampa has had a bad taste in their mouth. They are winning this game 1 in this series. I am not going to fade my Rays team here. They've come this far. We're taking the Rays in this series.
I mean, I'm not going to argue against you because, again, I haven't seen anything from this Yankees offense outside of Aaron Judge. Like, who is
Yeah.
going to be stepping up? We saw Stanton was on the IL. Josh Donaldson was on paternity leave. Um, Anthony Rizzo is also on the IL for this New York Yankees team. So they're missing a lot of their key bats. I think this is going to be a series where we're going to see a lot of those scoring games. I think this is going to be one of them. And if it is Frankie Montas, historically, he's been really good against the Rays, dating back to last season when he was with the Oakland A's against his Rays team. He's 3-1 with a 1.82 ERA. He struck out 30 batters in 5 appearances against the Rays. So he's also had at least 6 strikeouts in 4 of his last 5 starts against his Rays team. So if you do see a strikeout prop around 4.5, 5.5, I would probably take a look at taking that over for Frankie Montas. He did have a start prior to the trade from the A's to the Yankees, where he went 7 shutout innings, and then his last start, like you mentioned, was his best one against the Rays as well. So I love the under in this game. Again, I think the runs are just going to be at a premium. It's going to be that playoff atmosphere that we're seeing in all the bats. Even Insano mentioned it in the chat that these guys are missing. Runs are going to be at a premium. So I love the under in this game here, Noah.
Yeah, and it fits Malcolm's season-long fate of this Rays offense. They just scratch across a couple of runs at each game. They actually, I heard a stat on MLB Central. I love that show on MLB Network. I can't recommend it more. But the Rays lead the league in wins without a home run hit in a game.
Wow,
That's crazy. They have like 20 or something amount of those wins without a home run. So they manufacture runs. It is like it is not a new age ball club. Let's just say that.
Yeah. All right, let's get over to the next game of the night. It's going to be the Washington Nationals headed to Philadelphia to take on the Phillies. 7:05 Eastern start. Left-handed pitcher Patrick Corbin takes the mound for the Nationals, and Noah Syndergaard on the mound for the Philadelphia Phillies. This game, I do not see lines for either. Do you see anything on your end there, Noah?
No, this is the other game that I was talking about that I knew off the top of my head that was off the board here. Okay. So, Washington Philly is not a game that I have.
All right, let me refresh here and see if there's anything. Nope. All right, but we can still talk through the pitchers here. Let me just double check one more site here if these are the confirmed pitchers. Yeah, it is. I mean, we know the story about Patrick Corbin this season. Just has not been very good overall for the Washington Nationals. 6-17 is his record so far this year. 6.28 ERA. He actually has been pretty solid over his last 3 games. I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due. He's only allowed at least over his last 3 starts, he's only allowed 2 earned runs in 1 start, and then his last 2 starts in back-to-back starts, he's only allowed 1 earned run each. That was against the Mets, the Reds, and the Padres. So now he's going up against the Phillies here, who he has struggled against this season. So do we see Patrick Corbin kind of come back down to earth here? I think it might be a possibility here. And I'm trying to pull up his numbers this season against the Phillies. Like I mentioned, he does. Go ahead.
I see it happening. The Phillies, they are one of the best left-handed pitching teams in the league. 778 OPS against left-handed pitching. I feel like they just mash and they send Corbin back down the earth.
Yeah, last start was back on August 6th against the Phillies. He lasted 2/3 of an inning where he allowed 6 earned runs to this Phillies team. And again,
I mean, let's just be honest, Munaf. Besides this last 2-3 game stretch, it's been like that the whole season.
Sure, so yeah, it has.
Anytime you go back in this season, that stat line's going to look pretty much the same. So.
Yeah. No, it's Syndergaard. Thor's on the mound for the Phillies. 8-9 on the season, 4.07 ERA. Last 5 games, 2-1 with a 4.20 ERA. I want to see if he has faced the Nationals this season as a member of the Philadelphia Phillies. He did face them back in Washington on August 4th, where he did allow 4 earned runs to this Nationals team. I really like the over in this game here, Noah. I mean, we saw this Nationals team beat the New York Yankees. I'm sorry, the New York Mets, where they put up, I think it was 3 games or 2 games where they put 7 runs each. We saw their last game here where they put up 11 against the St. Louis Cardinals. In a prior game, they put up runs as well. So this team has some low key batters. It's not the big names that we're used to seeing, but they have guys that can put the bat on the ball. They can get on base. They can score some runs. And I think with the success that the Phillies have had against Patrick Corbin and how good, like you mentioned, they are against left-handed pitching, I think we see runs being scored in this game. So I'm going to take the over. That number's not out yet. I'm going to assume it's going to come out at 9.5. Oh, sorry, 8.5, possibly 9. But if it's at 8.5, I do like the over in this game here. Noah, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think the Phillies provide tremendous help in that number. I think the Phillies could put up 6 or 7. Team total would be catching my eye in this game. I'm a little bit nervous about the Nationals here and a little bit of a travel spot. We didn't mention for the Cardinals, but they are coming across to the Eastern time zone from the Central. So a little bit of a thing there, but I don't really know if that's going to stop what has been a pretty hot Nationals lineup, like we've said. So over Phillies run line, Phillies team total for me, probably.
Yeah, I love it. All right. So let's get over to the next game of the night. It's gonna be a
Actually, I
uh
wanted to address this too.
yeah, go ahead.
We've been going against Syndergaard for the stolen base props
Mm-hmm.
lately, and Sano's in the chat saying that Robles has 14 on the year stolen bases for the Nationals. I will say this: the trade to Philly kind of, I don't know, wrecked the automaticness of that, I guess. Real Muto has the best pop time in the MLB, so it hasn't been hitting as much as of late. So that's what I'll say against that. But still, it's plus 200, plus 250 whenever you take one. So it's still worth the chance. It hasn't happened as often, so it's not as automatic. That's all I'll say.
All right, good call there. All right, let's get over to the next game of the night. It's gonna be a 8:05 Eastern start between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Texas Rangers. Ross Stripling on the mound for the Toronto Blue Jays, and Dane Dunning takes the mound for the Texas Rangers. Looking at the lines for this game, I'm currently seeing the Blue Jays are a minus 150 road favorite here. Dane Dunning plus 130 on the money line for the Texas Rangers home underdog. Over set at 8 with juice towards the over at minus 120. Run line minus 1.5 at even money for the Toronto Blue Jays and plus 1.5 minus 120 for the Texas Rangers. Noah, why don't you lead us off for this game? Stripling versus Dane Dunning.
All right. So Toronto, they're 6-1 in their last 7 games straight up, 9-1 in their last 10 on the road. And Texas, they're 1-10 in their last 11 games. Ross Stripling goes for Toronto, and he's been honestly outside of Gosman's first, 12 starts to begin the season. Stripling has been the most dependable pitcher of this Blue Jays staff. He's 7-4 with a 3.03 ERA, 94 strikeouts, 19 walks, and 107 innings pitched. He's a 2.63 ERA in his last 4 games. He's going very well. Then you got home Dane Dunning, who has a 3.34 home ERA. It's a full run better than his 4.37 season ERA. He's 3-8 on the year, 119 strikeouts, 56 walks, and 138 innings pitched. Now, I'm thinking that the Rangers have just kind of mailed it in. In their last 10 games, they've only scored 4 or more runs in 3 of them. Both pitchers, I think, should keep the offenses at bay. My favorite play here is going to be a first 5 under. What just really scares me, I don't know if you remember it, but it's like the first or second series of this season where these two teams played against each other and they put up like 15 runs in the final 3 innings against the bullpens.
Yeah.
That just scares me. So I'm just going to go with the first 5 under, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just got to take the bullpens out of it. I think the Rangers have one of the worst bullpens definitely in the league for sure. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think Stripling, he's been, I mean, you have to put Alek Manoah in that conversation with Kevin Gausman up there too, right? I mean, I think they have some solid pitching between
I forgot about Manoah.
Those 3 guys. So it's just this Toronto Blue Jays team has just been finding consistency, and I think that's kind of been the narrative for them, at least in my eyes, even over the last 2 seasons. I mean, they have so much talent. They just haven't been able to put it together at the right time. Hopefully they can do that in the month of September and get a playoff spot, because this team does have a lot of talent. And again, you would love to see a playoff series being played in Toronto as well. So mean, back to this game. Yeah, I agree about the under here, at least in the first five. So take the bullpens out of it, especially the Texas Rangers bullpen. They can just blow up at any single time.
They're
Um,
still kind of missing a closer. So
yeah. So under 8 in the game for both of us here. Or sorry, first five under in this game for both Noah and I between the Blue Jays and the Rangers. Before we get over to the next game of the night, let me tell you guys about Fubo TV. Fubo TV is the newest sponsor on the SGPN network, and it is football season. And if you want to watch football, you need Fubo TV. Fubo TV gives you complete coverage of college and pro football with NFL Red Zone plus games in 4K at no extra charge. Over 100 channels of live sports and entertainment for a fraction of the price of cable. Watch all on your devices. Never miss a game or an episode of your favorite shows with the included cloud-based DVR. Plus, there's no contract, no commitment, and you can cancel at any time. So right now, you can try Fubo TV free for 7 days and get 15% off your first month just by going to FuboTV.com/SGP. That's FUBOTV.com/SGP. Also brought to you by PromoGuide.us. For all you sports bettors out there, I want to tell you about the best new way to increase your bankroll, especially for the football season. It's called PromoGuide.us. At PromoGuide.us, you can get the biggest bonuses from all the best sports books in the country. We're talking $1,000 risk-free deposits, insane odds boost, and most importantly, the best analytics in the business. Plus, tons of free picks as well. PromoGuide.us is your guide to betting smart. Once again, that's PromoGuide.us. Now on to Sleeper. Sleeper is the fastest growing fantasy platform today with millions of players. You probably already have a fantasy league on there, and we at SGPN, we use it for ours. It's a game-changing product unlike anything else in the industry, and now you can win on Sleeper by playing their new over-under game. Over-under has been integrated into the fantasy experience. The first sports contest built into the fantasy experience, like I mentioned. So not only can you enter a contest via over-under itself, you can also do so through your fantasy league's matchup screen. For example, Patrick Mahomes is your starting fantasy quarterback, and not only do you think you are going to win your fantasy matchup this week, but you're as confident that you think that Patrick Mahomes is going to go over his 250 passing yards projected line. And if you pick correctly, you can win anywhere from 2 times to over 20 times the money you put in. The main reason we're excited about Over Under on Sleeper, it's the only app where I can join my buddies' contest and we can play together. It's got a built-in group chat where I can see and copy my friends' picks with the tap of a button, and it's insanely fun to write it out together. Not only do they have NFL, but they also have college football player props. Stop what you're doing and download the Sleeper app now to play their new Over Under game and have fun with your friends and make some money. On your mobile phone, join our listener group on Sleeper at sleeper.com/SGP, and Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit of up to $100. Promo code SGP. Again, go to sleeper.com/SGP and you'll get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. All right, now let's get over to the next game of the night. It's going to be the LA Angels headed to Houston to take on the Astros at 8:10 Eastern start. Michael Lorenzen on the mound for the Los Angeles Angels and Lance McCullers Jr. on the mound for the Houston Astros. Looking at the lines for this game, I'm currently seeing the Astros are a north of a $2 favorite, minus 225 on the money line, plus 190 on the money line for the LA Angels. Over under set at 8 with juice towards the over at minus 120. Run line minus 1.5, minus 105 for the Astros, and plus 1.5, minus 115 for the LA Angels. Lead us off here, Noah.
the Angels, they've been playing pretty well as of late, 8-4 in their last 12 games. But last week they went 1-2 against this Astros squad, and the Astros are 7-2 in their last 9 games. Michael Lorenzen here, he's going to make this start. It's his first start off the IL, first start since July 1st for the Angels. 6-6, 4.94 ERA, 55 strikeouts, 30 walks in 71 innings pitched. And then you got another arm that is fresh off the IL after 4 starts here in the MLB. It's Lance McCullers, 2-1, 2.08 ERA, 20 strikeouts, 14 walks in 21.2 innings pitched. His last start here, just a week ago, was against the Angels. He went 6.2, 2 earned, 7 strikeouts, 4 walks. So the Angels lineup did see him pretty well. They got him out of the game after, 20 outs there. Honestly, the 4 walks scares me a little bit with McCullers to lay this minus 200 plus price. So it's sort of like you want to fade Lorenzen in his first game off the IL. I'm just afraid of laying the run line price, so I will take the. I mean, I don't have the odds in front of me, but I guess my favorite play here would be like an Astros team total. Munaf, what say you?
Yeah, I mean Lorenzen. We talked a lot about on the pod, Noah. It's that guys we always, or not always, but we want to fade guys that are coming off of the IL, right? I'm currently seeing the Astros team total at 4.5 at -125 in this game, and he hasn't had a lot of success against his Astros team. His last start before he actually went on the IL was against his Astros team. Just looking at his numbers, he was 0-2 against the Astros with a 15.63 ERA. He allowed 11 earned runs to the Astros in just 6 1/3 innings pitched. He gave up 7 earned runs before he went to the IL against his Astros team. So I think that 4.5 is a really solid look for Michael Lorenzen in this game. He only lasted 3 innings in that last game as well. So, Lance McCullers, he's been pretty solid for the Astros since he has returned from the forearm injury that he was dealing with in the offseason and early in the year, where he's 2-1 with a 2.08 ERA. Did face the Angels earlier this year, 5 2/3, allowed 2 earned runs. They did go on to win that game 4-2. So I think a couple plays that I do like is number one, what you just mentioned there, Noah, the team total for the Astros at 4.5 to go over. Also like the run line for this Astros team. I mean, they struggled a little bit against his Rangers team. They did get the walk-off win last night, or sorry, on Wednesday against the Texas Rangers. They have an off day on Thursday, extra day for these guys to rest up and go up against a division rival where they have actually owned. Let me see what their head-to-head record is against the Angels this season here quickly before we move on.
I think it was pretty good. They had a couple of sweeps in there.
11-5 this season, yeah. So they've really just owned the AL West opponents, have the Houston Astros. So Astros run line for me, I'm going to stay with that. And then also I love your pick as well, Noah, over 4.5.
Thanks.
All right, let's go over to the next game of the night. It's going to be a NL Central matchup between the Cincinnati Reds and the Milwaukee Brewers, 8:10 Eastern start. Nick Lodolo on the mound for the Cincinnati Reds, and Jason Alexander takes the mound for the Milwaukee Brewers. Brewers are in the midst of a doubleheader against the Giants on Thursday. So they're going to be playing their third game in 2 days here with against the Reds. I was trying to say. The lines are out for this game. I'm currently seeing the Brewers are a home favorite of -150, plus 130 on the money line for the road underdogs here for the Cincinnati Reds. Total is set at 8.5 with juice towards, actually, it's even both ways. Run line -1.5, plus 135 for the Brewers, and plus 1.5, -155 for the Cincinnati Reds. Looking at Nick Lodolo, left-handed pitcher on the mound. He is 3-5 on the season with a 3.95 ERA. He's winless in his last 5 games. And coincidentally, the Reds have lost 4 of his last 5 starts when he is on the mound. He did face the Brewers earlier this year in his one start where he gave up 3 earned runs and 4 2/3 innings pitched. So not very good numbers. Also winless on the road so far this season, Noah. 0-3 with a 6.75 ERA. He's allowed 18 earned runs in 24 innings pitched. Jason Alexander hasn't been very good this season either for the Milwaukee Brewers. 2-2 with a 5.03 ERA. He is 0-1 in his last 5 games with a 3.71 ERA. At home, he is 1-1 with a 4.50 ERA. Also, the Brewers have lost 4 of his last 5 starts as well. They just haven't been able to give him the run support. Last 2 games, combined 3 runs scored for Alexander starts. He lost against the Pirates. He lost against the Diamondbacks. And he had 3 starts prior to that against the LA Dodgers. I don't think those were starts, but they were just appearances. And he did get hit in one game by the Dodgers in one of those games. So I'm looking at I want to look at the left-handed pitching WRC plus numbers here for the Milwaukee Brewers. They are number 21 against left-handed pitching in WRC plus. Slugging, they are number Milwaukee Brewers 22. So they're kind of consistent in that 21-22 spot against left-handed pitching. I don't think that Jason Alexander should be favored here. I mean, they'd be this big of a favorite at -150. There may be a little bit of value here on the Reds at plus 130 here, but I think I do like the over more in this game here, Noah. Reds and Brewers, what do you think?
So I'm a bigger fan of Lodolo than most. I think he's been a great prospect. against Colorado in his last start, 9 strikeouts, only 1 walk, gave up 2 hits in 6 innings. That's more of the offense that he's going to see with this Brewers lineup. They're 26th in the MLB in OPS, 658, and they have a ton of strikeouts against left-handed pitching. So for me, they have the third most strikeouts against left-handed pitching. For me, I see value in the Reds. Now the trouble is who's going to provide the scoring for the Reds.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this lineup right now, and it's just like you're piecing a bunch of nothing together. Aristis, Kino, 385 ERA, 385 batting average in his last 4 games. He has 3 home runs, but that's about all he's been doing. Kyle Farmer also went yard yesterday. So really, I'll take my chances picking the Reds, but I'm not going to put my money on the Reds. I'll say that.
Maybe want to look at a strikeout prop for Nick Lodolo.
Yeah.
He's had at least 5 strikeouts in 5 straight games. He's had at least 6 or more in 3 out of his last 5 games. He actually had 9 against the Rockies in his last start, where he had a really good outing against this Rockies team, and he had 8 against the Phillies as well. Back on August 17th. So if that number comes around 4.5, maybe 5.5, you possibly want to take a look at the over for Nick Lodolo against the Brewers.
I like that. He's one of my guys, and the Brewers are one of the teams that I like to fade. Just got to see the number prior, because they like to set his at pretty high. His 6.5 is what I typically see Lodolo at. So
yeah. All right, let's get over to the next game of the night. Big series here in the AL Central, Noah. We got the Cleveland Guardians and the Minnesota Twins matching up at 8:10 Eastern start. Cal Quantrill on the mound for this Cleveland Guardians team, and Dylan Bundy takes the mound for the Minnesota Twins. Looking at the lines for this game, the Minnesota Twins are a slight home favorite here at -115, -105 for the Cleveland Guardians. Over under set at 8. Run line +1.5, -195 for the Minnesota Twins, and -1.5, +165 for the Cleveland Guardians. Huge playoff or division implications here, Noah. Where are we going with this game?
Yeah, Cleveland currently leads the AL Central by 2 games over both the Minnesota Twins and the Chicago White Sox. The Twins gave this division away, or I guess the division lead away in New York this past week. For Cleveland, they had an off day here. Minnesota, like I just mentioned, they're getting slaughtered by the Yankees and will travel back to Minnesota here. Just slight travel spot from one time zone to the next. Cleveland, they're starting Cal Quantrill, 11-5, 3.55 ERA, 101 strikeouts, 42 walks in 152 innings pitched. He's a 2.25 ERA in his last 6 starts. And then Minnesota, I'm just seeing this one confirmed in like the last 20 minutes or so. Mm-hmm. I believe it's going to be Dylan Bundy.
Yeah.
8-6 on the year, 4.34 ERA, 84 strikeouts, 25 walks, and 118.1 innings pitched. He has a 2.89 home ERA. He's a full run and a half better at home than on the road. 1.83 ERA in his last 5 starts. He's been going great lately. We don't have, I don't really have much of a lean either way on a side. I think both teams need to come away with at least 2 of the 3 here in Minnesota. For me, I'll just prefer to stay on the under for the total of this game. Munaf, are you in agreement here?
Yeah, I like that under as well. That was going to be my play in this game as well. I think runs are going to be at a premium. We've seen the Minnesota Twins offense kind of struggling. We know about the Guardians as well. Both pitchers have success against the opposing team. So Dylan Bundy did have 1 start against his Guardians team back on June 29th. That was in Cleveland, where he went 5 innings and only allowed 2 earned runs in that span. But like you mentioned, he's been solid at home for the Minnesota Twins. And you mentioned the ERA numbers there as well. Cal Quantrill on the road, 4-5 with a 3.86 ERA. Also had 1 start earlier this year against the Twins, where he went 8 innings and allowed 3 earned runs in that game. I want to see what the final score in that game was for that matchup, since he did go. Let's see here. That game ended 7-6 actually. The crazy part was that they put up a combined 7 runs in the 10th inning, Noah, to push that game over the total. So Yeah, I like the under in this game as well. I think that number I said was what, 8. Yeah, so love the under.
It's a little weird too. Cleveland's got a good bullpen, and Minnesota's bullpen has improved since the trade deadline. So
Yeah. Yeah, but
definitely
that was all the way back on June 29th as well. So a lot of things have
true.
changed in about a month and a half or 2.5 months there.
Yeah, I mean Minnesota added two great pieces, so
Yeah.
hopefully that doesn't happen again. But I like the under here.
Yeah. All right. Next game on the schedule is going to be another AL Central matchup, but it's going to be in the bottom feeders. The Detroit Tigers take on the Kansas City Royals at 8:10 Eastern start in Kansas City. Joey Wentz takes the mound for the Detroit Tigers, and Daniel Lynch is on the mound for the Kansas City Royals. Looking at the lines for this game, I'm currently seeing the Royals are a minus 130 home favorite, plus 110 on the money line for the Detroit Tigers road underdogs. Over under is set at 8.5. A little bit of vig towards the over at minus 115. And run line minus 1.5 plus 150 for the Kansas City Royals and plus 1.5 minus 175 for the Detroit Tigers. Noah, you probably know more about Joey Wentz than anybody else. What do we know about this guy?
Uh, he is a promising prospect. He's gotten roughed up in his two games in the pros, and then after that second game, he kind of disappeared with a little bit of a shoulder injury. Since the shoulder injury, though, he's made 7 AAA starts with a 1.81 ERA. The only thing that nerves me is that the Royals hit better against left-handed pitchers with a 724 OPS. There really aren't any trends for this game. Just know that both teams are bad.
Yeah.
So Daniel Lynch, southpaw for Kansas City, 4.9 on the year, 4.82 ERA, 101 strikeouts, 46 walks in 108.1 innings pitched. He has a 6.17 ERA in his last 4 games, and the Tigers do hit better against left-handed pitching with a 6.98 OPS. Not much to go off of on either team. Not great offense, really, in either scenario. The Kansas City Royals have kind of been my lovable dog over the last 2 weeks, but I'm gonna go with my Tigers here. I just feel like Wentz could give them somewhat of a like rejuvenation here. They are playing a ton of kids in this lineup. If you want to see the future of what the AL Central is going to look like, there are like a combined 14 prospects playing against each other of these 18 roster spots in this game here. So really, I could see this game going either way. You might have a problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER if you're going to bet the money line in this game. A total would be nice. I think that both offenses could put up runs here. I know it goes against that whole Tigers trend, but in their last 7 games, they've actually hit the over in 5 of them. So we might be seeing books correct that number a little bit here. Munaf, what say you here?
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Lynch, 1-4 at home this season, right? 5.47 ERA. Tigers actually have gotten to him this season, where in 9 innings he's allowed 7 runs, 6 of which have been earned by for Daniel Lynch by the Tigers. And his last start was against his Tigers team, where he allowed 4 earned runs, gave up 2 long bombs in that game as well. That game ended 5-4. You said some things about Joey Wentz for the Detroit Tigers. He just had one bad start against the A's, one appearances against the A's where he gave up 6 earned runs in 2 2/3 innings pitched, but he was pretty solid against the Minnesota Twins. 4 innings, he only allowed 1 hit to them. So I think if I do want to play a play in this game, it's probably the first 5 innings over. I think both of these pitchers can give up runs in this game. We talked about the struggles that Daniel Lynch has at home. So I think that he can give up runs to his Tigers team, and I think that the Royals can get a couple off of Joey Wentz as well. So I like the first 5 innings over 4.5 in this game, Noah.
Yeah, I really think that if you want to find something in this game, you could probably play it with some sort of confidence. But I don't think this is a game that you want to touch on a 15-game slate.
Yeah, absolutely not. All right, let's get over to the next game of the night. 4 games left on the schedule. It's going to be the 8:40 Eastern start. Arizona Diamondbacks headed to the altitude at Coors Field to take on the Colorado Rockies. Zach Davies takes the mound for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and Herman Marquez on the mound for the Colorado Rockies. Looking at the lines for this game, I'm currently seeing the Colorado Rockies are a home favorite of minus 125, plus 105 on the money line for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Total is at 11 with a little bit of juice towards the under at minus 115. Run line minus 1.5 plus 155 for the Colorado Rockies and plus 1.5 minus 180 for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Zach Davies on the season 2-4 with a 3.74 ERA. Last 5 games, hasn't recorded a decision yet, but he does have a 2.77 ERA. He's only allowed 8 earned runs in 26 innings pitched. Does have a lot of success against the Colorado Rockies this season. Again, not a decision for him, but he has a 1.65 ERA against the Rockies, and that's in 16 and 1/3 innings pitched this season. He's only allowed 3 earned runs to the Rockies as well. Has struggled a little bit on the road this season, where he is 1-3 with a 4.26 ERA. I want to dig a little deeper and see how and where those games were against the Rockies here. Give me 1 second. Let me filter this down here to this season. So his last start was in Coors Field, where he allowed 3 earned runs in 5 innings to the Rockies, and the other 2 starts were at home, where he was absolutely brilliant against this Rockies team. I think we probably have to throw maybe those numbers out the window a little bit because he can give it up in altitude. Let me get to Herman Marquez here real quick. On the season, 8-10 with a 4.86 ERA, and he's been really bad at home for the Colorado Rockies. 2-5 with a 6.09 ERA. We compare that to his road ERA, Noah, 6-5 with a 3.58 ERA. So almost half of what he's given up at home. He's doing better on the road. He did face this Diamondbacks team earlier this year, actually 3 times, where he's 1-1 with a 3.32 ERA. And let me filter this one down as well to this season against the Diamondbacks. Let's see here. But all 3 of his starts were actually on the road in Arizona for Marquez against the Diamondbacks, where he's allowed at least 2 earned runs in every one of those starts. But he at least went 6 innings in all 3 of those starts. I don't know. I couldn't come down on a side here. I think this total is a hair high as well. If you had a gun to my head, I would probably just take the plus money for the Diamondbacks here, especially with the struggles that Herman Marquez has at home. But I think that's another game here that you probably want to call 1-800-GAMBLER here, Noah. But do you have any thoughts on this game?
I actually completely agree with you, and I even love that line at the end there. The only thing I'll say that I guess there's 2 things that I can touch on that you didn't hear. Arizona, very hot right now. Yeah. They're 9-4 in their last 13 games. This offense has found something, with Corbin Carroll coming up, a couple other young guns making an impact. Although Davies, I'm kind of looking through or under the hood, I guess you should say. 5 innings, 3 runs, like you mentioned, at Coors in his last start. 85% of his pitches have vertical drop, and sinker being used 53% of the time, and his changeup being used 32% of the time. That scares me. I think my favorite play or pick in this game would be the over. I'm not going to get scared away from that high number on 2 all right offenses. I know the Colorado Rockies can rake at home, and the D-backs have been playing well lately. So the over would be my favorite pick.
I'm curious to see what the team total would be for the Arizona Diamondbacks. That first 5 innings team total's at 2.5. I think I kind of like that. I think they could get to Marquez early, at least put up 3 earned runs within the first 5 innings, because their full game team total right now listed is at 5.5 at plus money as well. So a couple of different ways to attack this game if you so choose. All right, 3 games left on the schedule here, Noah. Let's get over to the Atlanta Braves heading to Seattle to take on the Mariners. 9:40 Eastern start. This is going to be one heck of a series. Charlie Morton, Uncle Charlie, on the mound for the Atlanta Braves. Robbie Ray, left-handed pitcher, takes the mound for the Seattle Mariners. Look at the lines for this game. I'm currently seeing it -110 on both the money lines for each team. Total 7.5 with juice towards the under at -120. Run line -1.5 plus 160 for the Braves, and plus 1.5 -190 for the Seattle Mariners here. Noah, why don't you lead us off with this game?
Yeah, this one's our game of the night. It's on the ticker, baby. The Braves, they're on a 7-game win streak, but they're 1-6 in their last 7 games against Seattle, who's 8-2 in their last 10. Chucky Moe, like you mentioned, on the mound for the Bravos, 7-5 with a 4.01 ERA, 175 strikeouts, 52 walks, and 146 innings pitched. It's hard to get a read on like how he's going to pitch either or. It seems to be like good start, bad start, good start kind of trend. But on the road, he's a 5.35 ERA, so that's more than a run worse on the road than at home. And then you got Robbie Ray, 12-8 record this year, 3.45 ERA, 183 strikeouts, 53 walks, and 161.2 innings pitched. At home, he has an ERA of 2.55 and a 1.41 ERA in his last 6 games. So what do we have here? We have Morton, who's a run worse at home on the road, and Ray, who's a full run better at home in this environment. So I'll take the Mariners in the first 5. And I just think that this total, I mean, I had it at 6.5, and I thought that was a tad low. We've seen it bump up to 7.5 now here. Yeah. So I had that line, I guess, a little bit early. So take that, Muna, or Malcolm, for not calling me sharp. But you know what? Mariners first 5 is my like favorite play, and I'll go with the Mariners money line for a pick.
I'm curious to see what the left-handed numbers are for
Braves. The Braves rake, but they strike out quite a bit.
Yeah. Currently see them number 4 in WRC plus against left-handed pitching.
I have them second in OPS at 808.
Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna be I kind of just want to sit back and just watch this game, man. I really do, like, especially this series. But Robbie Ray has been really good over his last 5 games. It looks like he's found his Cy Young form again. 4-0 with a 1.41 ERA. This is going to be the ultimate test for him because you're bringing in an offense that has been doing well against left-handed pitching. Like you mentioned, they also strike out against left-handed pitching as well. I'm gonna take the home team here. I like Robbie Ray on the mound here. I think that he can get some strikeouts against the Braves, like you mentioned. I don't trust Charlie Morton on the road, despite him. I mean, look at his numbers on the road: 2-4 with a 5.24 ERA. So I think that the Mariners offense can get to him in this game. So I'm going to side with the Seattle Mariners in this game on the money line at -110.
So I'm going to take a glance here. In his last 6 starts, 5 of them he's had 7 or more. Usually I see a Ray prop at like 7.5. But given that the Braves are one of the worst teams in the MLB striking out the left-handed pitching, if that thing's at 7 or 7.5, I'd be willing to lay that.
All right. Yeah, 7. If you get a 6.5, 7.
I think 6.5 is a deadlock. I really think that hammer that, but I think it's going to come out at 7.5 tomorrow.
All right. Let me see if that's actually out, because sometimes some of these books actually drop them early. Let's take a quick peek here. I know we have 2 games left on the schedule here, but let's see. No, not yet. All right, so let's get over to the 2 West Coast games left. 3 games left on the schedule. Let's go Chicago White Sox in Oakland to take on the A's. 9:40 Eastern start. Lucas Giolito on the mound for the Chicago White Sox, and James Caprillion on the mound for the Oakland A's. Looking at the lines for this game, let's see here. I am currently seeing the Oakland A's are a home puppy of +135, -155 on the money line for the Chicago White Sox. Over under set at 7.5 with juice towards the under at -120. Run line -1.5, +115, and +1.5, -135 for the Oakland A's. Noah, our Chicago White Sox, but team that we're banking on to get this division. I think this is going to be the series where they need to just make sure they take care of business against one of the worst teams in the American League.
Yeah, I saw that price. We had it at 7-1. It's come down to 325, +325.
Yeah.
So the White Sox, they're 6-2 without Tony La Russa. I'm just going to keep that trend for the rest of the year, I think. Oakland, they're 1-6 in their last 7 games. For the White Sox, it's Lucas Giolito, who's 10-9, a 5.21 ERA, 147 strikeouts, 50 walks, and 133 innings pitched. On the road, he is a full run better at 3.99 ERA. For Oakland, James Caprillion, he's 3-9, 4.79 ERA, 76 strikeouts, 52 walks, and 109 innings pitched. He faced the White Sox at guaranteed rate earlier this season where he went 6 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, 4 punchies. I don't want to fade our White Sox. I want them to just keep winning.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is a perfect time, perfect spot with Caprillion on the mound, who's already pitched well against them once. Oakland should be entertained here as a pick. I'll take Oakland on the money line.
Yeah, that one start he did have was in Chicago. But I think the one thing that kind of sticks out to me about Caprillion is that he's 0-5 at home with a 5.87 ERA. They have lost 4 of his last 5 starts. Have the A's. They did get a home victory where that went down as a no decision for him against the Mariners, where they did get that victory 4-3. But other than that, 5-1 loss against the Nationals, 13-4 against the Yankees, 2-1 against the Rangers, 5-1 against the Angels that they lost. So I'm gonna stay here with the White Sox. The difference here for me is that Lucas Giolito has been better on the road, where he has a 6-2 record with a 3.91 ERA. And you mentioned the numbers there that at home he's a lot worse for the Chicago White Sox. So I think this is a series where they know that the Guardians and the Twins are going to be beating up on each other. That's an opportunity for them to, gain some ground, possibly maybe tie it up for that division lead, and then go from there. So I'm going to stick with the White Sox here. I'll take them on the run line here, -1.5 at plus money here. All right, last game on the schedule. It's going to be a battle of the NL West. The Dodgers head to San Diego to take on the Padres. Currently seeing Dustin May on the mound for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Mike Clevenger takes the mound for the San Diego Padres. Looking at the lines for this game, the Dodgers are a -155 road favorite. Home puppy of +135 for the San Diego Padres. Over under set at 8.5 with juice towards the under at -115. Run line -1.5 +105 for the Dodgers and +1.5 -125 for the San Diego Padres. Dustin May made his return after missing over a year with the Tommy John surgery. He's been okay. I mean, he did struggle against the Padres in his last start in Dodger Stadium, where he allowed 6 earned runs to this Padres team in 5 innings. The Dodgers actually lost that game 7-1 with Dustin May on the mound. Looking at Mike Clevenger here, the inconsistencies have been there for him, but he's 5-6 on the season with a 3.96 ERA. Big struggles against the Dodgers this season, where he's 0-2 with an 11.25 ERA. He's allowed 10 earned runs in 8 innings pitched. Last start was against his Dodgers team in Dodger Stadium, where he allowed 5 earned runs in 3 1/3 innings pitched. And his other start against the Dodgers this season, that was back on August 6th, allowed 5 earned runs to this team as well. So he's allowed 5 earned runs in both of his starts where he hasn't made it to the 5th inning. Both of those games have flown over the total. 8-3 was the score on August 6th. And then the last game, 9-4, where the Dodgers won that game. I'm not sure if I can trust either one of these pitchers here, Noah. I'm going to take the over in this game at 8.5. I think the struggles continue both for both of these pitchers against the opposition. I just laid out the numbers there. And again, Dodgers against right-handed pitching has just been a moneymaker this season on overs. So give me the over 8.5 for this game between the Dodgers and the Padres here. What do you think?
I'm actually seeing that at 8. So just look and see what number you can get. But yes, I love that over. The Dodgers, they're 17-3 in their last 20 games against the San Diego Padres squad. It just feels like the series is getting old. The Padres can add whoever they want to. Yeah. And it just seems like it's the Dodgers who run the town. So, yeah, I'm not going to add any more analysis. I think you killed it. Clevenger's been bombed. May's been bombed by both of these teams. We're going over 8, over 8.5. That's a cold lock.
All right. Before we get into our lock and dogs for this Friday schedule, let me tell you guys about Run Your Pool. Run Your Pool is the home of competition, bringing sports fans and their social circles together to compete, connect, and make every game matter more. Run Your Pool offers every game type under the sun, whether it's Pick'em, Survivor, the fantasy pools. It's a one-stop shop for sports gaming with customizable features that you don't get anywhere else. We've teamed up with Run Your Pool to host a pool for our official SGP and NFL Survivor contest. Hop in now to reserve your spot, $500 in cash plus a $250 gift certificate to the SGPN store to the winner. Sign up today over at play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. That's play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. Also brought to you by Odds Trader. What is Odds Trader? Odds Trader is a place to compare odds from all major sports books. You can also compare the different sign-up codes and promotions from sportsbook to get the best deal. The app also provides player statistics, key game stats, injury reports, and projected game day weather for bettors to make the most informed bets possible. It also has a bet tracker so bettors can keep records of all your games and betting activity. So all you have to do is go to oddstrader.com/bluewire. That's oddstrader.com/bluewire. OddsTrader, the number one site for all your game day bets. All right, Noah, let's close out this episode strong with our lock and dog. I'll give you the floor first here, my man. Where are you taking us for your lock and dog for this Friday schedule?
For my lock, I'm going to go with the over 10.5 in the D-backs Rockies game. I just think there's going to be plenty of runs scored. The D-backs lineup is very hot right now. And the Rockies, they always play well at home. I think 10.5 is just a little too low for both of these teams. I've been struggling to find a dog on this slate, though. For me, I took a team. I took a shot with the Tigers and the Oakland Athletics, two just really bad teams that I don't know if I actually want to put my real money and put an actual bet on it. I said both of those games I just didn't really feel comfortable with the favorite, and that was kind of my analysis. So I'm going to go with just a game that I feel like I handicapped pretty well. Going to go with the Baltimore Orioles, a plus 160, minus 1.5 against the Boston Red Sox. Too. So yeah, I just think we picked that game apart pretty well. I think that both pitchers are going to throw well early, and I like this game to be under. But I can kind of see this game going 4-2, 4-1. Baltimore plays very well at home. Boston struggles on the road. So give me the Orioles, the run line there.
I also didn't mention on the Red Sox handicap that I think they're going to be without Devers and Bogarts as well. So that's pretty much their offense right there. But you mentioned it on the road that the Red Sox have struggled and Orioles have just been a cash cow at home. For my lock, we talked about the Angels and the Astros game with Michael Lorenzen coming back and the struggles that he does have. Especially before he left on the IL against his Astros team. I'm going to take the Astros team total over 4.5 at minus 125 in this game. I think they can get to Lorenzen early and often in this game. If your book does offer that first 5 innings team total at over 2.5, I would take that as well in this game. So my lock, I'm going to go Astros team total over 4.5 at minus 125. And also did an under that we had talked about. It was going to be in that Guardians and Twins game. So I'll give you guys 2 locks here. Just check the graphic tomorrow, which one I actually officially give out. But I am going to be playing both of them.
I like that.
So the under 8 in the Guardians and Twins game as well as a lock. And I'm in agreement here with Noah on the Orioles the Orioles run line here. Minus 1.5 plus 150. I think there's a lot of value on that. Especially we mentioned it. I'm not going to repeat everything that we said, how just good the Baltimore Orioles are at home. So, and the struggles that the Red Sox have against AL East opponents for whatever that reason is. So minus 1.5 plus 150 as our dog for this Friday schedule here, Noah.
So what's up with Devers? I see that Bogarts is on the day-to-day. He's not quite on the IL, but he's just having a little bit of back issue right now.
Yeah, he has back spasms.
Yeah. What's up with Devers?
I really haven't read in what's been going on with him. I'm not sure if he had a scheduled day off because yesterday I know he wasn't in the lineup. Let me see if I can get an injury update here. He's on the 10-day IL.
Oh, really?
Inflammation to his hamstring. Okay. This was no, that's not right. That was retro July. No, why does that say 7 days ago? But the article says July 23rd.
Yeah, I see weird. September 7th. It was updated. Xander Bogaerts. He's on. He's just not playing with back tightness. So I do not see Devers listed. So it could have been a day off. Who knows?
Yeah, it's probably a day off. But maybe just check the lineups before we actually get to it because I do see him.
I still like it, even if
Devers it was a day off for him because he was struggling.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to do it for this edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with our lock. We're at the Turbo episode. We'll do our lock dog in total. We'll also talk about some playoff picture stuff. I know things are getting interesting in the AL Central. Talk about the AL Central, sorry, the AL wild card. We'll get into the AL East, big series like we mentioned between the
Yeah,
Rays and the Yankees. Maybe, just maybe, Malcolm joins us from Vegas, so I'm sure
I'm
he'll have some
excited for
stories.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get him on the pod. He did say he took his equipment with him, but when you're in Vegas here, I think the being on the at least recording is probably the last thing you want to do. But hopefully we can get him on and we'll get an update, a mid-trip update from Malcolm. I know he had an interesting story on how he got to Vegas, so we'll keep that as a
I somehow
teaser.
guessed that thing right on Twitter. I don't know
You
if you
did,
saw that
yeah,
one.
because
Yeah.
he was messaging me when he left, and then he told me about what was going on. I was just checking up if he made it okay and not, but I'm sure we'll get the full story hopefully tomorrow from Malcolm.
I
No,
think
anything
it's
else?
I think it's ironic. He leaves the country for one day, and then Queen Elizabeth II kicks the bucket.
Yeah, and
So it's tough.
that's yeah,
So you
unfortunate.
guys are without your soccer leagues for the weekend, just all NFL.
Yeah, it's gonna be all NFL.
How does that happen? Really?
Huh?
I'm just like so surprised that they canceled the games.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like she had like been like the queen for so long. I think that you probably it's probably I mean, probably the country's probably mourning and stuff, so
Yeah.
everything's probably shut down. But now
His
it's all
fantasy
Malcolm.
team was named God Save the Queen for half the year. So
Oh God.
he was the last pillar holding her up, and then he just ditched. Did you see the tweet?
Yeah, I did.
He said for America, I tweeted out the Sammy Sosa with the USA flag, and the
Yeah.
news comes out like an
Yeah.
hour later. I was like, oh my god.
Oh, Malcolm. I don't even know what to say. All right, so that's gonna do it for this edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast. Make sure to follow the Twitter account at MLBSGPN. Make sure to follow Noah on Twitter at 70, the word 70, the number 7, and his initials NB. Follow me on Twitter at SportsNerd824. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, it's an entertaining episode. Till then, good luck with your bets. Let's break these books off and let it ride.